Hello my dolls and welcome to another Q&A video featuring not Shelly. I know he's the brains and beauty behind the operation and I'm sorry he's not here right now, but I will do my best without him and I'll try to answer some of your questions. Buckle up, and before we get started, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see all the other videos we have going on here. Music videos, cello tips and tricks. There's a lot going on and I really want to share it with you. So if this video sparks some questions you might want to ask me, put them below in the video comments and you might be featured in a future vlog. So kicking it off, we have a technique question from @Meister_pants81 or Mr. Meister's fancy, but I think it's Mr., so I'm sorry. Cello there, LOL. I am curious as to the significance of wiggling fingers while holding a longer note. How different is the sound? And I believe Mr. Pants is talking about the vibrato technique, a way to embellish a note. And you can especially hear it on long notes like he said. And it kind of gives this expressive wavering in the pitch. And it's a way to add some of your own spice to your music. It can be a part of your interpretation where you can showcase your personality, convey emotions, and it's a very important part of string playing and for other instruments too. And that question is kind of warming us up for this intense one by @arianasophiak. Do you ever feel like you want to quit? And this is a big question. And I think everyone in any career has moments of frustration. I have been frustrated at something I'm practicing or something that happens on social media. I hate to say it, but it can be a trap putting yourself out there online. But I think the idea of quitting is something much more serious where you actually want to separate yourself from this part of your life and move on to something different. And it can happen to musicians for various reasons. You know, everyone has their own story. But for me, I can only think of one time in my life I seriously considered changing career paths. And it really hurts me to say that because now I love being a musician so much and I would not want to quit. No way. I haven't thought about that in years, but I really think it's important for musicians to share. The one time I struggled with my musical identity, I was going between my bachelor's and my master's degree. And I was having a lot of issues with my self-esteem as a player, and I wasn't quite sure what kind of career I wanted. And all of that was combining and causing a lot of stress while I was auditioning for schools, and I was getting acceptance letters, but also rejection letters that I took very hard. And it almost pushed me to quit. But then I thought to myself, you know, what else could I do? And I couldn't think of anything. That love was so deeply embedded in me, and I know it might sound cheesy, but I started my master's degree. I was growing at a quicker rate, and I felt re-inspired to go and shred in that practice room, and I had a fabulous, encouraging teacher. He was a really big part of why I didn't quit. So, Mihail Jojatu, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for that. He's a fabulous cellist and he really sparked up that fire in me to want to be better and to want to make music. It was who I was with. It was who I was meeting outside of school and working with. So I definitely had many things coming to my musical rescue. So next question comes from @bob.gravelle.music. How should cello parts be arranged in a rock, punk, metal composition? Well, I want to know what you are composing because that sounds absolutely awesome. So without getting too nerdy and detailed, you have to ask what makes this composition a signature rock composition or punk or metal. And you have to think about the musical devices that are essential to that song. And that's kind of step one. And that's what I often do before I arrange a song is I spend a lot of time listening to it and picking out elements that I want to highlight. And then the next step is, how do I do that on a cello? I'm very lucky because I'm a cellist, so I know a lot of things my instrument is capable of. So if you're not a cellist, become friends with one. Reach out to somebody you know who is well versed with the cello, or a fellow composer who knows how to write for strings very well. So don't be afraid to ask your colleagues or musical friends for help. Whoever is going to play your composition will be so appreciative that you did your research rather than guessing or writing what you hope will sound good. So the more conducive your composition is for a cello, the more likely it will be performed. So taking the time to do your research will definitely be worth it in the long run. And now we have a practice room tactic question from @grauenritter. Again, if it's not pronounced well, I'm sorry. How do you not autopilot when practicing? Except I do autopilot sometimes, so no one's perfect, but how do you combat it, right? So this is absolutely gonna be a vlog on its own someday, but to give you some quick tips, number one, find out why you're distracted. Whenever you feel yourself going into autopilot, is there always something going on that is repeating itself? Is it a cycle? Is your phone in your hand? Don't have your phone near you when you're practicing, because that is a very big source of temptation to get distracted. But for autopilot, when you play something and then, oh my God, I don't even remember how it sounded. Before you play something, really be specific on what you're listening for. You can kind of switch up the gears in your brain. I'm gonna play and focus on tone quality. I'm gonna play and focus on intonation. I'm gonna play and focus on my dynamics. So if you have a big tendency to autopilot, you need to juggle multiple ideas in your brain and switch back and forth. So if it's a piece of music, my concerto, just not feeling it, switch up the order of the pieces you're practicing. Psychologically, you feel things are too stagnant, that is when you're gonna go on autopilot. So that's gonna be a vlog someday. Thank you, Grauenritter, for that inspiration, and I hope those help for now. So now we have another cello-related question from @mummy_moomin. Perhaps tips on what to look for when wanting to upgrade from your first, cheap cello. Well, giving a plug, I do have a 2-part vlog series on tips for buying a cello, so I'll be sure to include that here for you. But to give some quick tips, most important thing is sound. That's the number one thing in my book. That involves also getting second opinions from other musicians, bringing your cello to your lesson and playing it for your teacher, or having a musician friend come with you. Even if it's someone who plays violin or viola, they know what string instruments sound like. And having that extra pair of ears is so important. How a cello sounds sitting behind it and playing it is so different than what it sounds like out to your audience. Also, don't be afraid to ask some of your cello buddies or even your teacher where to locally shop for cellos. Sometimes there are independent dealers or luthiers who sell instruments, and that's a great resource because if you ever need a repair, you automatically know a luthier who sold you the instrument. And also sometimes you might get a better find in a bigger city where you'll have more options. So if you're on the East Coast, New York or Boston, in the Midwest you have Chicago, and on the West Coast you have all the major cities in California. So those are some options. Hope that helps, and good luck upgrading your bay. And lastly, I was saving this super interesting question from @jscellist. How do you decide or prioritize your project content? I have so many ideas, it's hard to schedule them all in. Girl, my daily struggle. Oh my gosh, I have so many ideas going on in my head, and sometimes I don't even know. But I can offer you some advice on what has helped me to somewhat keep my sanity as I produce all these projects. So what I've been doing recently is reflecting on my project history. What kind of timeline I needed for, let's say, a music video versus a vlog, or an audio recording versus audio and video. And you'll start to see a pattern with how long things will take you. So taking the time to analyze that really helps you plan for future content. Also, since I am technically still in school, I need to have school projects be a higher priority. Also, if you're collaborating with anybody, especially if you're getting paid, you want to be professional and you want to get that in ASAP. You never want to miss a deadline when you're collaborating with someone. Time is so important, so it's excellent you're thinking about this. And in terms of solo content, think about what really excites you, because if you're going to take on something like a music video, you're going to be with it for a long time. So you better enjoy what you're playing or making, and then look at your life calendar or your teaching schedule, other factors in your life that might need your attention. See if that is when you can do smaller projects and save the bigger projects for when you have more free time. Oh my God, my dolls, these questions are getting my brain churning. You're really helping me to think about the way I process and do things. So thank you for these questions, and please submit more in the comments and you might be featured in a future video. I hope you had fun with this and you got to know more about me as Carolyn or the cello doll. And also please let me know if you enjoy watching these videos. I'm always so happy to see when my dolls watch my videos and comment, so thank you for being here. And in addition to YouTube, I also have my shenanigans on Facebook and Instagram, so you can check those out, and we'll see you guys for the next video. I mean, who knows what Chelly and I have in store for you guys. Bye!